created our presentation on marshes and their importance.
So the big deal with marshes is humans are depleting marshes, destroying marshes, because they use marshes to build commercial property and housing on the marshes.
And that goes into our big issue. It creates a loss of habitat, which then leads to endangered species. It reduces the water flow in the area because they actually divert the rivers and streams away from there, and then it leads to an increase in dead zones.
So in the location in Georgia, the marshes are located behind the barrier islands. So if you have the barrier islands, marshes are behind them on the coast. Marshes have the second largest amount of, Georgia has the second largest amount of marshlands in Georgia. Also 1/3 of the salt marshes in the east coast also belong to Georgia. So that 100-mile coastline of Georgia, it contains a lot of the marshes in the east coast.
There are 3 types of marshes: tidal freshwater, tidal salt, and inland. They all have subtle differences between them, but they each have something unique as well. The inland marshes tend to have most of the fresh water because they are more inland and away from the salt, and so they form a lot near the lakes and rivers there. Tidal freshwater is where a lot of androgynous fish lay their eggs, and that's with fish that can go between salt and freshwater. Tidal saltwater marshes are the most important in Georgia because they also are so abundant. They're home to a lot of shellfish and fish, and so a lot of commercial fishing is done there.
So Georgia has approximately 500,000 acres of marshland, so this is a huge amount of marshes. Also, over the past few centuries, the East Coast has lost about 70% of its total marsh area, so it's a huge destruction of marshes going on. And most of them are occurring in the north, but in the south we've been a little better about keeping our marshes.
And a big reason for that is because a lot of people don't understand all the marshes' uses and how important they are. They do things such as buffering during storms, they slow the erosion in the area, and obviously provide shelter for the animals there. But the most important thing they do is filter out the toxins and excess nutrient before that water reaches the ocean, and so it prevents hypoxias and dead zones.
And so to help preserve marshes, the best solution is to just leave them alone. In Georgia, we have the Coastal Marshland Protection Act. It basically is an act that you have to get permits in order to build on the marshes. People and companies, they have to ask this agency to build on the marshes. And other ways to help improve marshes is increase the water flow. So if you restore the amount of water that goes into the marshes, it'll help the marshes grow. Also restoring natural tides. If we go back into the old days, before we have dams and stuff, it can also help the marshes grow. And the last thing is remove invasive species. With species that are not natural to marshes, if we remove them, we can have better marshes and help marshes grow. Thank you.
Cool. What's a fun fact you learned about this project, or doing this project?
My favorite fact, I think, would be is how much tidal saltwater marshes contribute to the economy of Georgia. Being a business major, it was neat to see that that we can produce income from something in nature.
My favorite fact was we had the second largest amount of marshes in the country. I didn't realize that Georgia housed that many marshes. It's pretty amazing to think about how much we have.
All right. Great.